what's niggling me. Today we start off, I don't think this will be long. Okay. I guess Iran has a right to defend itself because it was provoked, right? No more using that fucking lame excuse, Israel. And the Likudniks. Okay. No, we don't want that up there. We got this fucking loser. Benjamin Netanyahu, they call him today. But really his last name is Milikowski.
PLO state is a deadly danger to world peace because it is the surest guarantee of increased terrorism and war, however noble the idea may sound. I call now as my first witness, Mr. Benjamin Matai.
Mr. Matai, welcome to the audience.
Matai.
Mr. Matai is a graduate of MIT. He is an Israeli, and he is a man who has written widely on this question before the House tonight. Mr. Matai, is the issue of self-determination the core of the conflict in the Middle East?
No, I don't believe it is. The real core of the conflict is the Arab refusal to accept the state of Israel. And I think, as I mentioned earlier, for 20 years the Arabs had both the West Bank and the Gaza Strip. And if self-determination were, as they now say, the core of the conflict, they could have easily established a Palestinian state then, but they didn't.
When did the issue arise then?
Well, for 20 years, we didn't hear a word about self-determination. And in fact, what we did hear, those of us living in the Middle East, was about driving the Jews into the sea. Now, after 1967, under the leadership of the PLO, the hardline strategy shifted to adopting a moderate, dressed-up slogan, which now talked in terms of first a secular democratic state, and then replaced it with Palestinian self-determination. But what this really means, contrary to what Mr. Aruri said, about 1977 being a changed year in the PLO's...
Oof, that was rough, that noise. So this guy here, 1970s. Now, not long after, he has an Iran issue. So this is 1978. My issue is they like to forget all the things that they've done. So the Numek affair. $200 to 600 pounds of highly enriched uranium with suspicions that it had gone to Israel's nuclear weapons program. That they had possibly stolen it from Pittsburgh. It says here that the FBI investigated Zalman Shapiro, the president of Nuclear Materials and Equipment Corporation, NUMEC, over the loss of 206 pounds of highly enriched uranium. Shapiro was a longtime Zionist, and he had business interests and contacts among high government officials in Israel, including a contract to build nuclear-powered generators for Israel. The Atomic Energy Commission and CIA, other government agencies, and inquiring reporters conducted similar investigations, and no charges were ever filed. A General Accounting Office study of the investigations declassified in May 2010 stated, "We believe a timely concerted effort on the part of these three agencies would have greatly aided and possibly solved the NUMEC diversion questions if they desired to do so." In 1976, just before you saw Benjamin Netanyahu, The CIA briefed senior staff at the Nuclear Regulatory Commission about the matter, stating that the CIA believed the missing highly enriched uranium went to Israel. The NRC informed the White House, leading to a President-elect Carter being briefed about the investigation. Carter asked for an assessment by the NSA, whose staff concluded the CIA case is persuasive, though not conclusive. Then we go to Mordecai Vanunu, is an Israeli former nuclear technician and peace activist who revealed details of Israel's nuclear weapons program to the British press in 1986. He was subsequently lured to Italy by the Israeli intelligence agency Mossad, where he was drugged and abducted. He was secretly transported to Israel and ultimately convicted in a trial that was held behind closed doors. Vanunu spent 18 years in prison, including more than 11 in solitary confinement, though no such restriction is mentioned in Israel's penal code nor imposed by his verdict. Vanunu's revelations about Israel's nuclear capabilities were verified by nuclear weapons experts, including former U.S. nuclear weapons designer Theodore Taylor and former British AWE engineer Frank Barnaby, who agreed that Vanunu's story was factual and correct. His disclosures led analysts to conclude that Israel possessed between 100 and 200 nuclear weapons. After his release from prison in 2004, Vanunu was subjected to a broad array of restrictions on his speech and his movement, and was arrested several times for violations of his parole terms, giving interviews to foreign journalists and attempting to leave Israel. Despite these restrictions, Vanunu continued to advocate for nuclear disarmament and called on Israel to open up the Dimona nuclear reactor to international inspections. Vanunu's actions have been recognized internationally as a significant contribution to the nuclear disarmament movement. He was awarded the Right Livelihood Award for his courage and self-sacrifice in revealing the extent of Israel's nuclear weapons program that they were not supposed to have. JFK was deeply concerned about Israel's nuclear program. Now we're going all the way back to fucking the 1960s at the beginning. And Israel is still fucking doing shit they shouldn't be doing. But they're, the world's fucking greatest ally for some fucking reason. Maybe because they're the blackmailing machines. JFK was deeply concerned about Israel's nuclear program and took several steps to address his concerns. May 1963, Kennedy wrote a letter strongly warning Israel against continuing to develop nuclear weapons. Well, clearly that didn't fucking stop him. This was part of a broader effort to prevent nuclear proliferation, which was a significant concern for Kennedy. Kennedy's concerns were not just diplomatic, but also related to national security. He sought to put pressure on the Israeli government to abandon its secretive nuclear weapon program, pushing for institutionalized regular inspections of Israel's Dimona nuclear facility by the International Atomic Energy Agency. Tensions between Kennedy and Israel reached a peak in 1963, with Kennedy sending ultimatums to Israel and diplomatic conflict turning into a secret showdown. Kennedy's efforts included a telegram to Israel Prime Minister Levi Eshkol, stating that U.S. support for Israel could be seriously jeopardized if Israel did not allow the United States periodic inspections of its nuclear reactor. Despite these efforts, Israel maintained a policy of deliberate ambiguity, neither confirming nor denying the possession of nuclear weapons. This policy allowed Israel to develop its nuclear capabilities while avoiding direct confrontation. The situation was further complicated by the involvement of U.S. uranium in Israel's nuclear program. Between 1958 and 1978, more than 300 kilograms of uranium-235 disappeared from the Nuclear Materials and Equipment Corporation, NUMEC, in Pennsylvania, and it was later found that this uranium had been diverted to Israel. Kennedy's personal engagement with the Israeli nuclear program was significant, and he was more than concerned about it than any of his successors. However, his efforts to curb Israel's nuclear ambitions got him killed. No, were not entirely successful, and the issue remained a point of contention in U.S.-Israeli relations. Jonathan Pollard. Jonathan Pollard is an American former intelligence analyst who was jailed for spying for Israel. In 1984, Pollard sold numerous state secrets, including the NSA's 10-volume manual on how the U.S. gathers its signal intelligence, and disclosed the names of thousands of people who had cooperated with U.S. intelligence agencies. He was apprehended in 1985. Israeli spies found in 2001. In 2001, there were reports of Israeli individuals being detained, questioned, or deported in the United States, with some allegations suggesting they were involved in espionage activities. According to a declassified memo prepared by the DEA, Israeli art students were observed entering secure government facilities and wandering into unauthorized areas. These individuals were found carrying items such as photographs of federal agents and computer printouts referring to DEA groups. The DEA documented over 130 separate incidents of art student encounters across 42 cities in the United States. Additionally, in the 2 years leading up to September 11th, 2001, when towers fell into their footprint, almost 200 Israelis were detained, questioned, or deported for attempting to breach secure government facilities. One notable incident involved 2 Israelis, Salvador Gerson Schmeck and Sar Noam Benvi, who were arrested in Mexico in October 2001. They were found carrying detonators, TNT grenades, and 9mm Glock pistols. They were released due to pressure from the Israeli embassy and then Prime Minister Ariel Sharon. There were also allegations that Israeli intelligence, particularly the Mossad, had a history of conducting surveillance and covert operations in the United States. For example, the Mossad was alleged to have monitored White House phone lines to obtain incriminating conversations involving U.S. President Bill Clinton and Monica Lewinsky. Additionally, a 4-part Fox News series from 2001 suggested that Israeli-owned companies had the capability to wiretap American telephones, raising concerns about potential espionage. The greatest allies. The greatest allies. USS Liberty. Updated 2 days ago, updated for 3 weeks ago. Hilarious that people are updating this. USS Liberty was a Belmont-class technical research ship, an electric spying ship that was attacked by Israeli Defense Forces during the 1967 Six-Day War. Israeli Air Force and naval units attacked the research ship during the Six-Day War. Israel later apologized for the attack, stating it had mistaken Liberty for an Egyptian ship, although the reason for the attack has been disputed. Liberty would eventually be decommissioned sometime after the attack and was sold for scrapping. Let's find a picture of the USS Liberty. Well, it's hard to see there, right? That's a close-up. Jeez. I didn't zoom it in, eh? I suggest looking up the USS Liberty, if nobody's done it. You can listen to these. I've listened to, I think, 3 people. USS Liberty, Survivor, you can listen to the survivors. Ooh, right here. I don't know if that'll get me burned. Go listen to the USS Liberty survivors, and they'll tell you that Israel knew what they were doing. All of them will tell you that Israel knew what they were doing. Did I get rid of the USS Liberty thing? Israeli payments. Compensation is the better word, eh? Compensation. Israel offered $6.9 million initially, but later paid the full amount claimed by the U.S. government on behalf of the families of the 34 Americans killed in the attack, which totaled $3.3 million. Additionally, Israel provided close to $13 million in compensation for the incident, including payments to the families of those killed and wounded, as well as covering damage to the ship. They got caught. They torpedoed the fucking thing. They attacked it from the sky and then torpedoed it. They knew what they were doing. Over a long period of time. Over hours. This guy loves wanting to go to Iran. I've played videos of this idiot wanting to go to Iran. But he has only hate in his heart and his eyes now. He only has hate in his heart like he's just his brother born in Tel Aviv. His mother, born in the Ottoman Empire. Father, Poland. Which was probably Russian Empire, I think, at that point. Miłkowski, grandfather, rabbi. Believes in spells and shit. Zionist. Ethnocultural. Changed name from Miłkowski to Netanyahu. He said a DNA test revealed that he has some Sephardic, so that he can try and claim that he's a Semitic Jew. That's my guess. I'd like third-party tested. DNA tests in Israel. DNA tests are not illegal, but they are subject to significant regulatory restrictions, particularly when it comes to determining familial relationships. The Genetic Information Law in the year 2000 regulates genetic testing to protect privacy and prevent misuse of genetic data. Ancestry.com in Israel. However, in Israel, there are restrictions on the availability of DNA testing kits. The Israeli government controls these types of purchases due to the genetic information law, which requires obtaining explanations from a doctor and informed consent to perform the test. And such tests should be conducted in a laboratory by a genetic institute recognized and licensed. As a result, Israelis are forbidden to buy ancestry DNA kits from the store without presenting a court order. That's funny. When I spit in a tube in my house, you're not allowed to do that in Israel. Now I see. Is this a Mormon-owned company? Side note, Owned by the Blackstone Group. They are smart to gather everyone's DNA. The Mormons were smart to gather everyone's DNA. Wow. I didn't see that coming. The Mormons own Ancestry.com. Wow. Where they started it. I wish I wouldn't have did it, but I didn't know. I don't even remember when we did it. We did it a long time ago. When it was pretty new. Fuck. I've been pretty nervous about it for a couple of years that they have my DNA. This guy. Oh yeah. His brother. I'll give it. Benjamin Netanyahu is super smart. He went to MIT in the United States. He is intelligent. Don't get me wrong. But he has hate in his eyes and his heart. His brother died in war. Ooh, see, this is not good here. Colleague of Mitt Romney. Mitt Romney has a lot of power in the Senate in the United States. Thought I saw it. His fucking Wikipedia is so gigantic, whoever's putting this shit in here. This is too long. Benjamin Netanyahu brother's death. Because he's his older brother. Israeli military officer who commanded. He was killed in action during the operation, which was launched in response to the 1976 hijacking of an international civilian passenger flight from Israel to France by Palestinian and German militants. July 4th, 1976. So when the Americans celebrate July 4th, Benjamin Netanyahu's brother died on that day. Now, that's a long time. 1976. So he has hate in his heart. And that's why, under Benjamin Netanyahu, there will be no peace. There will be no peace under Benjamin Netanyahu. He's a fucking idiot, man. There's war. So many wars because of this guy. How many? Oh, this will be tough. Refugees worldwide 2025. As of mid-2023, an estimated 100 million people around the world were forcibly displaced, including 30 million international refugees, 57 million internally displaced, 6 million asylum seekers. Ongoing displacement in Ukraine, Sudan, and Afghanistan. Well, Sudan, we know why that is. That's an Israel one. Middle East map. Okay. Oh, can I click on it? This is tough. Okay. Yeah, little Israel over here. Kind of. They kind of got an agreement with Israel. The United States thought it was a good idea to put a member of ISIS into Syria. So he'll be a problem eventually, and he'll have to disappear eventually. So that's going to be ongoing. Israel wants Lebanon. Iraq is a fucking shit show still. That's here. Libya's a fucking shit show still. I won't really blame that one on Israel. I'm sure they helped with intelligence, but I blame that one on the United States. Sudan, that's Israel. Anybody along this area here, you either come to an agreement with Israel, or they're gonna fuck your shit up constantly. Iraq's probably like, what the fuck? Jordan's probably like, what the fuck, man? Israel's launching at Iran. Why the fuck are you doing this? Somalia, not so much of a problem anymore. Used to be a problem. Yemen. Fuck, man. The United States and Israel just want, I can't move this map, but they just want to be able to get free down here. They want it to be free access right down here, up through here. Pakistan. This place is a shit show because of being right here next to India. Don't know how it's ever gonna stop. Afghanistan, nice and fucked up because of the United States. China, these guys have Uyghurs in prison camps, use slave labor. Saudi Arabia, they're down here. I did an episode on the Las Vegas shooting, and I think it had to do with these guys. And these guys also had to do with September 11th. These guys and these guys. And then they found Osama bin Laden all the way over here. Well, actually, I don't know 100% in where there, but I know it was near the border. And then they found Khalid Sheikh Mohammed there too. They didn't find him in Afghanistan. They found him in Pakistan. But they had to go and fuck Afghanistan up and stay there for 20 years, control the poppy fields. We got fucking Russia. Right up here. All the way to here. Well, kind of. Oh, I can't move this map. I don't like that. I wish the United States would leave this side of the world alone. Keeps fucking shit up. It fucks shit up for Canada too. We'll end with funny notes. George Bush and Barack Obama are 10th cousins. Hillary Clinton, her ancestry goes back to Henry III of England, several medieval kings as Robert I of France, Davy Crockett, Andrew Jackson, William Henry Harrison, Benjamin Harrison. Her family tree also links to European monarchs, with some claims suggesting that she is descended from Simon de Montfort, Earl of Leicester. But it also says down here, furthermore, Clinton is related to John of Gaunt, the 14th century Duke of Lancaster and son of England's King Edward III. This connection places her in the same royal lineage as Donald Trump, making them distant cousins through their shared ancestry. Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump are cousins. George Bush and Barack Obama are cousins. Barack Obama is the 39th great-grandson of King Charlemagne. That's the royal blood that's been going through the United States of America. Were these elections fair? I don't know. I'm gonna say probably a little shady. Probably why there's no accountability. It's interesting that royal bloodlines rose to the top of America. Barack Obama, this guy that just came out of nowhere from Chicago. Barack Hussein Obama, who's cousins with George Bush and the 39th great-grandson of the King Charlemagne. That's pretty fucking wild. Just presenting facts.